All right, so unless you're a complete chameleon, like, say, a Sean Penn,
gnarly!
no matter how good you are as an actor, you could end up being typecast. Denzel gets it, right? He's the quiet hero. Sandra Bullock, the funny, charming, but the girl next door. And that's okay. They're really good at it, and it pays. But what if you were typecast simply because of your background? That's what it's like for an actor like Lynn. A few years back, she was a working actress, had a couple of good roles, right? Shows like Slings and Arrows.
I'm so sorry.
And on stage, where a play like A Nanking Winter came along about the massacre and rape of Chinese citizens by the Japanese Imperial Army. All that helped her grow as an artist. And as someone with an expanding social conscience, that's good. But in the bigger picture, Grace was just getting tired of being typecast. I mean, who would want to be stuck playing mainly immigrants if you were born and raised in Ottawa? So Grace packed it in, moved to London, England, and spent a year studying her other passion, alternative health and nutrition. But then came the role that turned it around for Grace, JoJo Kwan.
This is Goldilocks. You're all morons.
The deadpan forensics expert on CBC's spy spoof, InSecurity.
Look at the bruising on the tomato slice and the depth of the gravel embedded in the cheese. This slice was thrown from a moving vehicle.
A character defined by her brains, not the color of her skin.
Hello?
Or her accent.
Good news. I think I have enough compounds here to make something that could get us out of this.
Thanks, JoJo. You really came through in the clutch.
Grace scored a Gemini nomination for the role and proved that while sometimes change can take some time, passion and perseverance can at least help you in how you deal with it.
Righteous.
Please welcome Grace Lynn Kung.
Hello.
Morning.
Good, how are you?
Nice, good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Mega congratulations on your Gemini nomination, all that.
Thank you very much. Congratulations on your new set.
Thank you, thank you. What does it mean to you, the nomination?
To be honest, I never expected to be nominated. I don't know if it's because once I got into the business, I realized that people really just, it was more that I was an Asian actor. And for me growing up, like other than Sandra Oh, there really weren't any Asian actors that I was seeing. So it seemed like just a dream. I just thought, you know, it'd be great to be respected by the people that I work with, but it was never anything that I expected. And when it came up, I was surprised and thrilled. So
when you're growing up, is that something that you really noticed? At how old were you when you started to realize that you know, there weren't Asian actresses on TV?
I don't think I really thought about it that way because I never saw myself as an Asian actor. I just kind of saw myself as someone who wanted to act. I never really identified. I know it's weird, but I didn't identify with being Asian until I got into casting. And then they were like, oh, you're an Asian actor. And I was like, oh, okay. So I should practice my accent. Okay. Yeah, and I did. A lot.
Did you?
A lot.
So there are a lot of guys, I mean, I've talked to, you know, other actors or actresses who have ethnic looks to them, and that's what, because they could play different ethnicities, right? Yeah. And the accent is a big sticking point for them. They don't want to do it, but sometimes you have to.
I tell you, I got to a point, maybe about a year in, and I thought, if I have to go out for one more audition where I have to put on a lousy accent, I'm done. It was like they would go in and they'd be like, okay, so my agent would prepare me, they're like, a slight accent. I was like, okay, slight.
What's a slight accent?
A slight accent. I don't know, so I'd go in just with the hint of, I'd be like, hello, George, it's good to see you, you know. So very light, you know, and by the end of it, I swear it was shameful. They'd be like, hi, George, good to see you. Chicken fried rice in the back. You laugh, but that's what they want.
Seriously,
that's really
right?
what they want sometimes, and it's upsetting.
But because people laugh. That's the craziest thing, right? It's funny, but why is that?
I don't know, I mean, there's an aspect of it. Like, for instance, if you're going to go funny Chinese accent, you always go Cantonese. Right. Because Mandarin is not as funny. It's actually quite lyrical. Like, they rarely ask for a Japanese accent, for instance. There's some accents they don't ask for. So,
but it's interesting that, so here you're in this position, you get this nomination, but there was a point where you probably weren't even going to do this anymore, right?
Yeah.
You actually have a backup plan.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I think about it that way. Are you talking about school?
Yeah.
Are you referring to school?
Yeah, you're in school, but it's not like you're not studying the arts necessarily.
No. I'm studying natural medicine, and I've always been interested in food. I had a lot of cancer in my family, just family members. So growing up, I spent a lot of time in the hospital, and just, to me, I always really loved food myself, loved eating food, but also it became interesting to me that, you know, cancer was sort of on the rise, and it seemed to correlate that what we're doing to our food, how we process it, and what we're putting in it, is maybe the cause of why there's so many more autoimmune issues, allergies, all of that. It just seemed to make sense in my head, and part of it was, I guess, cancer prevention.
And you're not going to school around the corner from where you work.
No.
Tell them where you're studying.
I'm studying in London, England.
Yeah, right. So you would fly back and forth to shoot? Is that how this is, your schedule?
Do you know what? I wanted to live in London my whole life, and
Why?
my favorite comedians were British. I always admired their casting, so maybe that was part of it. You know, there are mixed relationships without this being a story about interracial relationships. So that was like that was really symbolic to me, I think, growing up. So their casting and the way that people look like normal people there is.
As opposed to the American style, where it was far more
Where
handsome.
they walked off the set of like a Tommy Hilfiger ad and just walked onto, just walked onto set. And I don't know, I really love the British way of doing things. I really love how you can look at a picture of the British streets and then look at their film and television for the most part, and it looks kind of the same.
There's an authenticity to it.
Yeah.
It's not just playing characters that have nothing to do with their ethnicity, which is when you're talking about that with the English casting, but it's also being able to tell you different kinds of stories that are very much about cultures, like Comfort Women, which is a really, like a lot of people don't know about,
Absolutely.
What happened to these girls.
Yeah, well, I did this play called A Nanking Winter by Marjorie Chan, and it was about the Nanking massacre during World War II, and I was shocked at how much I didn't know about it.
I mean, talk about just even the phrase Comfort Women, how uncomfortable that is and terrible that is, right?
Yeah.
And what happened to these women?
When I was doing the play, I'd come home after a long day of rehearsal, and I just keep reading more. You look at the photos, and they were overwhelming. And my friend was like, "You have to stop. You're not going to sleep." I sleep very little to begin with, and like she was like, "You're not going to sleep. You can't do this to yourself."
There's numbers of women who were attacked in this scenario,
And the
right?
photos are so graphic, and you really think they're all mothers and sisters, and I always think when people do, I guess, bad things, you have to think about that all the people that you're doing that to have families, they have brothers and sisters. And
what's crazy, though, is that everybody who is victimized has that story, but so do all the victimizers, right? Those who commit the crimes, and, the amount of sexual assault on those women, those were sons, and brothers and fathers. And so when you're telling that story today, what's the most important message to get out there?
I think you have to make up your own mind, go out there and read and let your heart tell you, what you think is right in that situation. So
Are you
just
happy
be
now
educated.
that your mother made you take drama classes?
Did she really? I tried to quit piano. That's how I ended up in it, by the way.
You tried to quit piano. She said you got one or the other?
I was so classically Asian. It was just like you grow up, you play piano, and I was just like, I'm tired of not having my weekends. I'm really tired of it. And she was like, well, you're not doing anything. So anyways, after this debacle where she tried to change like a piano teacher, and that didn't work out very well, she was like, well, you're taking something. And a colleague of hers had mentioned this Ottawa School for Speech and Drama. She was like, if you're not going to do that, then you're going to do this. So.
And you just took to it.
I did.
There you go. The show is InSecurity, by the way. So the DVD of season 1 is now available, so go pick it up if you want. It's nice to see you, Grace. Thanks so much.
Good to see you, too.
Grace, come, everybody. We'll be right back.